Hey guys, I watched another bad movie. This one was actually a recommendation. So, the name of the movie is The Ice Cream Truck, and it was terrible. This movie is like The Graduate, if the most interesting part of that movie was a homicidal Amazon guy. The scariest part of this entire movie is the opening sequence. It has this, like, techno scary music playing throughout the background as you just camera pan through a suburban neighborhood and suburban neighborhood shots. All the tension is immediately ruined though, and you realize that nothing is going to happen as this guy like rolls past in his motor wheelchair with this American flag like hanging off the side. All tension just completely removed. The main character picks up the soggy newspaper, which allows her to realize that the ice cream truck is there, and it's not a regular ice cream truck. It's a VW van looking thing with it's worked by an attendant who wears a bow tie and like this white uniform as though it's the 1950s. We'll get more into him later. Um, the main character gets sprayed with a hose by the neighbor kid, and sh- she talks to the neighbor about it. She's like, "No, it's okay. Really, it's totally fine." There's the dialogue here is super awkward. All of the actors in this movie act as though they're in an improv scene and they're just like waiting for the other person to finish their line so that they can say their thing. Where it seems like the main character should be feeling something, but she just looks confused. She's asked if she works from home, and then she says that she's a freelance writer, which, I mean, you could have just said no. She says that she does mostly editorial and blog stuff. Believe it or not, that's actually going to be relevant later, so we'll come back to that one. The main character goes home. She does this whole like body look in the mirror thing. Look very old at all, so it falls pretty flat. The main character tells her husband that she's got some chairs, and she talks about reclaiming her youth as a joke. She complains about the neighbor lady, but due to the fact that she was emotionally vague earlier, when she does it now, it just kind of makes her seem two-faced. We can't really feel a lot of sympathy towards this main character. There's an old moving guy who looks like a truck stop Matthew McConaughey in that one role where he was like, I keep getting older, but they just stay the same age. So that happens. The main character is interrupted by truck stop McConaughey as she's getting dressed, but she just seems more annoyed by like getting sprayed earlier than she does by the fact that he just like walked in on her. She's just like, some people knock. It seemed like a dramatic underreaction to like the situation that had just occurred. The main character gets invited to a party by the neighborhood ladies. It's the graduation party for this kid named Max. Um, then the main character is writing, and she gets interrupted by the truck stop truck stop Matthew truck stop Matthew McConaughey. That's surprisingly difficult to say. I don't know if you've ever tried it. Um, that's kind of a microcosm for this whole movie, though, because she's over here writing some bullshit, and then like there's some actual stuff happening just directly behind her. There's dramatic music playing as they look at this TV that he just has like sitting on the wall, and he's trying to like, I don't know, the movie acts like I should be scared by this. It's playing like the creepy music and stuff, but he's just being really helpful. So it's a really conflicting emotional situation here. It's like, I hope you like it over there. It's like you can't be threatening and helpful at the same time. I hope you're glad I opened this door for you. It's not creepy. It's just a little weird. The main character kicks him out. He gets creepy when he does. She gets like passive aggressive, which I feel like after the earlier incident, we should either see like anger or fear at this point to kind of justify the situation. Then the wife sees the ice cream truck again. It shows up. She goes to Max's graduation. Before she even goes inside, though, she meets Max outside, and he asks her if she wants to smoke a doop, which was weird. I can't tell if this movie was written by like what a 14-year-old thinks being an adult is like, or if this movie was written by like a 60-year-old man picturing what a 14-year-old thinks an adult's life is like. It's very strange, some of the lines in this movie. The main character does this impression of a high schooler as they're like smoking. she's like, "What schools do you guys go to?" And then she's like, "Oh my God, you go to Beckway North too? Oh my God!" It was weird. Was a dramatic shift. After one hit, the main character is done, and she's like, "I don't know if I can do a social setting right now," which I thought was adorable. My favorite line of the movie is actually at this point. She says, "You so don't seem like a grown up." This movie. The closest analogy I have for a line that bad is when the two little minions and Hercules are pretending to be kids, and then he's like, "Gee golly, gee gosh, mister." It's the quote level of writing we have going on here. The main character has never been high before, like the actor that plays her. I'm fairly confident based on how she chose to like portray that. They try to do this like, oh my god, she's high in a social situation, but it's like nobody gives a fuck because they're all just like regular adults, and she's the only one making it kind of weird. Like, there's one part where she's like sneaking a drink, but you've already heard Max say at this point that everybody's been drinking all night. Like, there's this lady who just gets sauced up, like, literally 10 seconds after, but the main character's over here. I hope nobody sees me. I'm being judged right now. Also adorable. Oh, Max has a girlfriend. She's too high to go to his cake cutting, which, whatever. Instead, she just kind of like walks down the street and then she gets into the back of this ice cream truck, which I feel like if you're too high to go to like your boyfriend's cake cutting ceremony, then you're definitely too high to get in the back of a stranger's ice cream van. Jessica and the main character are like talking, and Jessica's like, "Oh, your husband is like out of town," because the main character's family is not with her. It's kind of an irrelevant thing. They're mentioned a lot, but like they're not in the first half of the movie. Jessica's like, "Well, if you ever wanted to cheat, now's the time." And the main character's like, "Nah, I have a really good vibrator at home." And then Jessica gets all grossed out and stuff, but it's like you just brought up cheating. Why is that the line for you? Then the main character starts talking to Max, and some of these lines are just like wonderful. I just wrote them down outright. I don't even have to do jokes for these. Suburbs. Weird, huh? Character describes suburbs as a well-meaning bubble. Then they have this bit where Max is like, "Bigger's always better," isn't that what they say? And she's like, "Not always, but you'll figure that out when you get older." And I'm pretty old and I have no idea what that means. We find out that Max is a grass worker of two kinds. He mows lawns and then he sells you pot. The ice cream man shows up. The main character doesn't hear him, but she hears a scream, which I thought was weird because I guess like now another person's dead, but they just died off screen, so we don't know who they are or why. It happens. The main character runs to Max's house. It's like the next day. There's a long running sequence. We're supposed to believe that like this is one of her hobbies. She's a writer. She's a runner. She does a lot of things. She talks to Max's mom. She's like, she tries to hand her like this little hair clip that had fallen off of Max's girlfriend as she had gotten murdered by the ice cream man. The dialogue between the mom and the redhead lady gets like super weird. I don't know if there was like another version of the script where like it had an entirely different plot line, but the whole thing, this scene just seems like it was jacked from that and then just like infused into this because she's like, "You drove alone? You should have brought a gun. There are crazies out there." And then she's talking like the scary music's playing, so you're thinking that she's part of some, I don't know, suburban murder conspiracy. Um, it doesn't really turn into anything though. During the discussion with the red-haired lady, there's also this part where the main character says that she's fucking sick of doing yard work, which is fair, but she's actually just moved across country, and as far as we can tell, she just has like a ton of free time. So it seems like you should kind of mow your own lawn at that point. Uh, we see a lot of shots of her just like laying down, not doing really anything. You want some exercise. That's a way. The ice cream truck shows up again. We get some more scary music. the neighbor lady's there, and then she's like cutting, but she's clearly not cutting, and she just uses it as an excuse to like have another awkward interaction with the main character where you don't really learn anything, or it happens. Max and the crew show up to do yard work. He shows up with like two of his buddies. When they get there, the main character is like, "Oh, I don't even know what I need done. Let me check it out." And it's very clear that she was using this whole thing as like a thinly veiled way to get Max to come over. But it seems like during certain parts, she's like in self denial about it or something. Um, what else can I have you guys do? And I'm pretty sure they only do yard work, it, of one kind or another. One of the guys bails for booty, um, and then on his way to get some booty, aforementioned, he stops for ice cream, and then he gets like two chocolate cones. This is like one of my favorite scenes in the movie because the ice cream guy is like, "You like chocolate, huh? Real traditionalist." And I'm like, he's over here psychoanalyzing people off of ice cream, and it's so much better than just the entire rest of this movie. If this entire movie was just him, like, "Oh, Rocky Road, huh? Says a lot about you." He also has this like spiel where he talks about how much he loves ice cream. He's like the mascot of ice cream, really. Um, So Nick like goes into his place for his booty call, and he's got like the two ice creams, and then like he's making out with his girlfriend on the couch, and she's got him straddled and stuff. I don't know if I'm just getting old, but I was like, that would never happen. You're gonna stay in the couch, and it's gonna be gross for both of you. Really, there's gonna be ice cream just everywhere, and chunks of cone where you don't want cone. All right, it's not a good situation at all. The ice cream man, he breaks into the house and then he murders both of them with an ice cream scooper. And I think this movie actually realized how ridiculous it was because it doesn't actually show him doing it. But still, it shows the scoop like missing from her head. And I don't know if he's not supposed to be like a supernatural ice cream man, as far as I know, based on the rest of the movie. We'll get there. We'll get there. There's a long scene where the ice cream man is just kind of Tom Hanksing. So like we're positioned outside the bathroom, and then we can see like the back of his pants, and he's just using the bathroom. And then he like washes his hands afterwards, and it was strange that the movie felt like we needed to see this. I don't know what it contributed to anything. Um, the Max shows up late night for a lawn care check so that he can talk to like the main chick, um, and he's like, "Hey, I got that pot that you forgot earlier," which is weird because earlier, whenever he gave her his price for lawn care, uh, he was like, "It's gonna be $100." She's like, "$100, man," and he's like, "I'll throw in some pot." She's like, "Oh, all right, cool." Uh, which seems weird if she's not into pot enough to be able to take more than one hit without just like completely losing her shit. A delivery guy shows up and then he eye fucks her. It was a weird thing to include because I feel like if you just wanted to have your character eating delivery food, you could have just showed the delivery food on the table, and then most people would have put those two things together. Um, I guess they just didn't trust us. The main character won't let Max drink, but she just wants to smoke some pot. Um, oh, she's like, "I have to go," and he's like, "Go where?" She's like, "Go be somewhere without a teenager in my living room." I was like, it would just make more sense for you to tell him to leave if you're already in your house. Pretty soon you'll have to go. Is how a normal person would just say that. The struggles this movie has, it's just baffling. She's got on one hit again. That was it. It's a good thing he brought the rest of the pot because she's definitely gonna need it. And then when he like shows her the pot or whatever, it's definitely more than $100. I would assume. I don't know. It seemed like it was more than $100. It's a lot of pot. Oh, there's a back and forth with the wife on how she feels about parenting, every time we see her talking to her kids or whatever, she's happy, and there's a lot of scenes where she gives like the perfect wife answer. But there are points where it seems like it's trying to suggest that she's not happy with being a mom, but it doesn't do it successfully because there's no actual consequences to it. If you compare a movie like The Babadook, where you have scenes where like you can tell that this woman is emotionally distraught by like her living situation, and that kind of feeds like the monster. Uh, it's just so effective. Whereas in this one, it's like she looks like she's just totally fine, and at most we see her sigh a couple of times. But she's like, the only music I get to hear nowadays is Disney. Terrible. She kicks him out with a lot of unresolved sexual tension. There's like a dance that they do. He like shows back up and then knocks on the door and then asks for her number. And at first she's like, no. And he's like, I could call her text or I could just come over. And she's like, well, okay, then that makes sense. She gives him her number, of course. Because, I mean, that's what you say when presented with that. She also slams the door, which I feel like you already gave him your phone number. You, it's a strange move. We get another Mombad mirror scene. We needed another one to remind us that like the main character is old and does not enjoy being old. This whole like weird tangential romantic relationship with like a teenage boy is not enough to convince us. We definitely needed a second mirror scene. She's reading a magazine, chewing gum, as she puts on these like she puts on old shorts that she had, I guess, when she was younger. She's like surprised that they fit, but then it's like you're in great shape, and you probably haven't changed sizes then, since it seems like a perfect fit. You should know what your short size looks like. So she's laying on her stomach with this magazine, chewing gum, and then texting the teenage boy. Which, again, if you didn't get by this point that she has problems with this whole aging process thing, it is fully established by now. The ice cream truck starts driving towards her, and you're thinking, like, this is going to be it. We're about to reach the final climax between our protagonist and this psychotic ice cream man. He doesn't. She walks to the park, and then she meets like Max. When she meets Max, then the ice cream truck pulls up, and he's like, "Do you guys want some ice cream?" And they're like, the main character is like, "No." It's like, "Well, are you sure? Because like we also have like shakes and stuff." And she's like, "Hmm." Which I thought was great because our main character's only consistent character trait is that she gives mixed signals to everybody. She probably, and sometimes, like when she's in traffic, she'll just like hit her blinker and then just immediately turn it off. Just so you know. Oh, when the ice cream man like offers her ice cream, we get like another like ice cream psychoanalysis. He's like, "You seem like you're normally a vanilla person, but tonight you want something a little more decadent." Which honestly, it's more helpful than creepy because, like, you know, she's flying her wild flag tonight. He is exactly right. If she gets something, she's definitely not getting your vanilla. It's going to be at least two flavors. It's going to be a very colorful bowl. Smoke a dab. We get our first bit of character development. The third time that she smokes in this movie, she doesn't cough. Woo! They smash at the park, which is weird because before that, there's a scene where the ice cream man's talking to him, and then like Max goes to flirt with her, and she's like, "Shh," but then she just like fucks him on a jungle gym. There's 10 minutes left in this movie at this point. I had to check because we haven't even seen like our main character be implicitly aware of the fact that like there's this guy who's just going around just murdering people in the back of an ice cream truck, sometimes in their own home with an ice cream scooper. Final showdown is upon us. Uh, so he's like on the ground, and then we cut to them, and then the Max goes to like climb down. They're both on the ground at this point, and then the ice cream man is like up on the jungle gym, and then Max is like, "I'm gonna go distract him," And bad choice because you could have just ran away. It's going to take him some time to get down from the jungle gym. And then Max actually goes over to the jungle gym and he starts climbing the side part, which, if you go around, it has steps. You didn't have to do that. And then as he's climbing up, he gets like stabbed in the hand. And death by jungle gym. That's a new one for me. The main character runs directly to the ice cream truck, and then she hops into the back of it. It's a very sound strategy. She goes into the front part. My favorite part of this is that like it's the one place that he actually has to go back to. Like anywhere else she ran, she might be good. There, she is definitely going to be like confronted by him. Excellent decision making on her part. He doesn't notice her because she's in the front part and he's in the back part. He's just kind of like washing his hands. If nothing else, we know he is a very hygienic villain. Good to keep in mind. Um, he gets drilled through the head. First, he gets like hit, and then she pulls out like a drill, and then drills in the head. And then I was just thinking like, why do they have that in an ice cream truck? That seems terrible. And he doesn't even use it for killing people because he has the scooper that he uses. So why is that there? And then we reach the first of many plot twists that this movie has to offer you. The first is that her family shows up, right, after she's done her like final girl walk or whatever. And then it turns out that none of it happened because Max, now alive again, and his dead girlfriend, now alive again, walk by them on the sidewalk. And it turns out that it was all just like a story that she had written. Isn't that something? But there's more. There is actually another plot twist on top of that. You thought this movie was done. It wasn't. Because outside of her window is the moving guy who's just like standing there, just like creepily watching from a distance. What does he want? I don't know. This movie has him there. This movie is like reportedly 13% of households because the only interesting thing that actually happens in it is cheating. This movie is like realizing you didn't chart. I think the worst part of all this for me is there were two really cool movie ideas that were here that just were not executed well and probably shouldn't have been together. So like first we have this like psychotic writer lady who's just like walking around just imagining people getting murdered and then she's actually being stalked. That's an interesting plot right there. And then on the other hand, we have, you know, Ice Cream Hannibal Lecter who could just be like going around like ice cream psychicking people. Like, oh yeah, him. That's definitely a mint chocolate chip kind of guy. How amazing would that be? Like, it would be like the new Dexter. People would be like, "Oh, have you seen the ice cream truck killer guy show? It's pretty good. He psychoanalyzes people with ice cream." What's your favorite flavor? Do you want to eat a cone? So this has been my spoiler-full review of the ice cream truck. It was terrible. I did. It's that forgettable. Pretty bad. I hated all three times I watched it. So I am out.